Thank you for taking the time to watch this tutorial video on completing the required background checks for licensure. We hope you find this instructional tool beneficial. Background checks should be completed as early as possible and before the application is submitted. Unfortunately, we cannot accept the results of previously conducted background checks. For example, those completed for employment purposes, other licensing purposes, or any other previous printing required. If you need to complete background checks for multiple reasons, it is recommended that the State Medical Board be the primary selection, and you should request that any other copies be mailed separately. The vendor can manually enter this information so that a copy can be mailed to another entity or to you for your personal records. The results are only valid for 1 year. If the application process is not completed by the designated expiration date, you will need to complete a new background check. State law dictates that applicants complete background checks for both the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, BCI, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. State law requires all individuals applying for an initial license or for restoration of a license with the State Medical Board of Ohio to submit fingerprints for both BCI and the FBI criminal records check. If you have a record of criminal charges or convictions, you must report those incidents on your application. Please provide an explanation including why you were charged, the disposition of the charges, and any penalties. Submission of court documentation, if available, is also helpful in completing our review of your application. Please note, if you have been granted an expungement order, that criminal offense does not need to be disclosed on the application. However, all other offenses should be disclosed. Failure to disclose criminal charges can delay the application review and can lead to further investigation and discipline up to and including a denial of a license. The FBI will use your fingerprints to check their criminal history records. You have the opportunity to complete or challenge the accuracy of the information contained in the FBI identification record. The procedures for obtaining a change, correction, or updating an FBI identification record are set forth in Title 28 CFR 16.34. If you have additional questions, please contact the FBI directly or consult with an attorney. The correct code must be used when completing the background check. Failure to do so could result in the rejection of the background check results and being required to resubmit fingerprints. Please use the corresponding code listed for the application type submitted. The codes are also found in the Medical Board's background check packet at med.ohio.gov in the Apply section. The State Medical Board of Ohio recommends electronic prints in Ohio whenever possible. You can locate an approved Ohio web check facility at ohioattorneygeneral.gov/background check. Once you have located an Ohio web check facility near you, call the facility to schedule an appointment and verify requirements for fingerprinting at that location. Generally, you will need a valid government-issued photo ID, a form of payment, and a reason for fingerprinting. Also, remember you must provide the correct ORC number. Once you've finished, have the web check facility select Direct Copy from a drop-down box for the State Medical Board of Ohio located at 30 East Broad Street on the 3rd floor, Columbus, Ohio 43215. If it is not possible to appear in Ohio for electronic fingerprinting through WebCheck, you will need to ink print 2 of each fingerprinting cards and complete the fingerprinting as follows. Please contact an entity that performs ink printing and have 4 FBI cards ink printed. Generally, there is an additional fee for this service. Ink fingerprinting can be completed by most local law enforcement agencies. Here you will also need a valid government-issued photo ID, a form of payment, and a reason for fingerprinting. And don't forget, you must provide the correct ORC number. Complete the ink fingerprinting of 4 cards at the identified location. The extra 2 ink printed cards should be mailed only if you receive notice of a rejection. Otherwise, an additional visit to the vendor would be required. Once the cards have been printed, you must cross out the word applicant in the upper corner of the 2 of the cards and replace it with BCI. This informs Ohio BCI to complete the FBI with the applicant card and to complete the BCI with the BCI card. You must complete the cards to include the employer, State Medical Board of Ohio, the correct ORC, the OCA number 1AB002, personal information, and the demographic information. It is important that all entered information is legible to avoid misinformation being sent to the board that may delay verification of received results. For example, misspelled names, inaccurate date of birth, or social security numbers. You should use FBI cards provided by the vendor if possible. However, FBI cards can be printed by visiting this link. Please print 4 copies for printing purposes. Here we've demonstrated how to complete the FBI cards before submitting them for processing. Here are the items you will need to complete and mail for the out-of-state printing. Please make sure you have included a completed FBI card and a completed BCI card. You can submit payment electronically through the payment portal for the appropriate amount referenced in the background check packet. If needed, there is also an option to pay by check or money order. Cash is not accepted. Please make sure that your mailing is secure and is unlikely to be ripped, torn, or bent during transit. The mailing envelope should clearly reflect your name and mailing address. All out-of-state printing should be mailed to the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigations, BCI, P.O. Box 365, London, Ohio 43140. If all required items are not contained in the mailing, it will be returned unprocessed. This will delay the application process. If possible, please use priority mailing to expedite the arrival of your background check, and be aware that processing takes approximately 4 weeks. Ohio BCI requires 2 printing attempts before the option of a name search request can be submitted. That means if you receive notice that an insufficient print was rejected, you will need to mail the 2 additional cards with a copy of the rejection notice to avoid additional charges in processing. If both attempts result in insufficient prints, a name search can be processed. It is recommended that you have 2 additional cards ink printed in case of a rejection. Please contact Ohio BCI at 877-224-0043 for additional questions and to check status of submitted prints. Remember, start the process as early as possible. If you have questions about fingerprinting or any other aspect of a licensing process, please contact us at license@med.ohio.gov.